guys, it's Eric at Big Guard Arms. Whitetail deer, going to show you how to process it. We're going to take it down just to the major muscle chunks, and then we'll do the butchering in a later video. Rear quarters, front quarters. Front quarters, pretty simple. You find the armpit. The only thing holding it in there is muscles and cartilage. There's one. You can see all the bloodshot from where it was shot. We'll cut that all out, and I'll show you how to do that later. Flip it over. Same thing. Come right here, next to the chest. Circulate around. Second one off. Your back straps. You see this white line? That's your spine. You're gonna go with your boning knife. This is just a boning knife out of the butcher block. You can see that bone right there? That's for the hip bone. You cut along that. And you see this top of the ribs? And it goes around to here. So you kind of follow the ribs all the way in there, and you can take it all the way up to here if you want. I usually stop right here at the base of the neck. You take this side all the way down to the ribs, and you start from the ribs, and you follow those ribs all the way back. See where these ribs, the small ribs, see where they start to meet now? Now you're gonna take it. Now you almost got one back strap off. One back strap. Okay, and you can see that you went along the ribs, went along the spine, and you took that whole section off right there for back strap. Rotate it over, and you're doing the same thing. Start at the base of the neck if you want. Go along that spine, kind of like filleting a fish. And you find that bone, the hip bone, you see it right there. And I just go straight down. Now you find your ribs, see that line right there? I take it, follow the ribs all the way down. If you're ambidextrous with a knife, it makes it a hell of a lot easier. The more practice you have, the easier it's going to be. Second back strap. Now we can take, because it's been hanging for a couple days, we can take off that dried part of the skin and we can fillet it off like a fish. But that is essentially, cut that in half, we got two different packs of meat. From here, we're going to take off the back hams. Where that bone is, oops, flip it over to the other side. Easier to see with the camera. Okay, where that bone is, you're going to kind of follow it. Okay, go on the inside of that. Cut, this is your flank steak on a beef, would be your flank steak. You cut that. And then you see this bone in here? There's your ball joint for your hip. You break that like an old man would, going down the stairs and takes the wrong step. Okay. There's your ball joint. Go around that hip bone. This is part of the pelvis. We split the pelvis in order to get all the entrails out. Just kind of get it all broken away. You pop that joint and you see the tendons that are holding it together. And you cut those tendons. And now you have one of your back hams comes off. And then you repeat the process on the other side. Cut through the flank steak, inside of that bone. Remember where we cut for the back strap? Inside of that bone. Now it's going to go around. Here's your pelvis. You're going to hug up against the pelvis. There's the ball joint. That's a bit of the pelvis coming off with it, but we're going to cut that off here in a sec. So there's part of the pelvis that came off with it. And we're just going to cut around that ball joint to get that off. Take your time, cut off all that meat off your grind pile. But there's your fourth quarter. Okay. So there's essentially your broke down deer into quarters, back straps, and here's your tenderloins right here. Okay. These little muscles inside, you can take these out with your fingers. Run it along the spine. You don't have to nick that with a knife, but you can. You just run that out with your fingers. And there's one tenderloin butchered. Run your thumb up and down it. Come around the outside. Okay, those are your tenderloins. That would be like your filet mignon on a piece of beef. That's your filet mignon. And that's pretty much it. If you're going to cut out rib meat for grind, or if you want to chop them off, you can just get your saw, chop them off, and you can do deer ribs. This is pretty well bloodshot, but what you would do, you can see your ribs and you can feel your ribs. You can feel your spine where it all matches. Put your knife in next to the rib, all the way to the spine, flip it around, hold it up against the next rib, go all the way up until it stops. Go to the other side, and then you get some of the flank steak right up against the rib meat. And then this just comes off, and you can either throw it in your grind pile. You can make tough ass jerky out of it. It's got a lot of connective tissue. But all that would be good for your grind. Go right up against the rib cage, down to the spine, right up against the other rib. And then you can just keep taking that meat out. This is part of your flank steak, but you can see how it's all bloodshot. So we'll go ahead and throw Bloodshot away. So you get right up against the bone. Take your knife, follow it down, turn around the other way. And then you'll pre-grind pile. And you can do the same thing with this. This is all still good. You can use it in your grind. There's a lot of meat in there. That's part of the flank as well. This is where this is cut off right here. That's the diaphragm when you got them out. That's your diaphragm, so that's all part of that same muscle to help them breathe. And you can just take that, use it all for grind. Makes good burger or sausage. Little things like this, you can feel where the bone is. Just cut the bone out, throw it away. You can take the meat and just cut the meat away, and that's all good for your grind. That's all good for grind. Same thing with your neck meat. If you want to take some of the neck meat, you can follow the spine up to get that chunk. And this right here, you kind of got to see the center line. And you'll just follow that like you did the back strap, taking it off. And that, same thing, we'll fillet that dried up part of the skin off from it hanging, and then you got more for grind pile. So essentially that's pretty much what it is. You take all your good pieces. This might look like Bloodshot, but it's really not. It's just a piece of membrane that's underneath the skin from the Bloodshot, so we can actually peel that off, and that's still good for the grind pile. That's actual Bloodshot that's in there. And then flip it over to see it again. Start in that center point, go down the neck. And you want to have a sharp knife, so if you don't know how to sharpen a knife, you better learn. Okay, see that? That's your spinal cord. Here in Kansas, we have CWD. We don't want that shit. We're going to cut that out. Because I feel better about it. There's really no right way to do it if you have a deer that has CWD, but that's how I'm going to do it. Same thing. Go up against the ribs, cut it out. Up against the ribs. This is all good for the grind. There you go. See why you want to shoot a 25 caliber? That's the exit hole. That's the exit hole. Alright. That's essentially it. You can pick and cut big chunks of meat off for the grind, but essentially you got your 4/4, you got your carcass. Rear hams, front shoulders. A lot of Bloodshot going to be in this one, and so essentially this is going to cut in half. That whole piece is going to be gone, so it's going to be pretty much this shoulder's burger. You can tell this one was the entrance hole and didn't fare too well either. But your big chunks of meat are coming from here. I threw the grind pile on top of the tenders, but there's your tenderloins and your back straps. And then that's how you break down your deer in order to get it for either the butcher. You can take it all to him like that and he'll make it. But that's essentially how you break down your deer.